can the Honorable Secretary not admit the truth that he was an American citizen, when in fact he admitted it to his guesting in a TV station, when he was categorically asked whether he was an American citizen. And during the last hearing, Mr. Chairman, I categorically asked him whether he carried passport number 121190223, and he also categorically answered me that he never held that passport. But he admitted in his interview that he was an American citizen and he held this passport. Well, anyway, he does not want, I do not understand why he can admit it in a TV station and cannot admit it before this Honorable Commission. And before I rest my case, I am just worried, Mr. Chairman, because DZRH posted a live interview of Secretary Yasay this morning. And I quote, "The Secretary has suspicion that questioning his citizenship in the Commission on Appointments is part of the destabilization effort against the administration." It pains me, Mr. Chairman, that anything and everything that cannot be answered will be attributed to the destabilization plot. This is unpardonable, Mr. Chairman. The actuation of the Honorable Secretary, at the very least, is contemptuous of this commission. Very clear that what he said was the questioning his citizenship in the CA is part of the destabilization effort against the administration. Did he say this, Mr. Chairman, because I, who are propounding the questions about his citizenship, is a member of the Liberal Party of the Philippines?
There is a question. Do you confirm having said
Mr. Chairman,
or uttered those statements?
I confirm having made statements to that effect in the show of Karen Davila, but I also confirm that I did not refer to any destabilization effort being undertaken by anyone who is a member of this august body, the Commission on Appointments. I was specifically referring to outside efforts. Remember, Mr. Chair, if you will just read the newspapers, there have been a lot of columnists, including a former Secretary of Foreign Affairs, who had always been attacking me for things that are baseless and without, including my alleged intervention in preventing an ambassador from sitting as ambassador in the United Kingdom. But this is precisely because they were saying these things as an effort to show that I am incompetent, that I am disqualified, as a ploy to embarrass. But never did I make that reference that it was anybody. And if I did, if this is the impression that I committed, ma'am, I apologize. God is my witness. My heart is open. I never said this. And I apologize very sincerely if I hurt you on this, because it has never been my intention to do so.
And I hope God would enlighten you to tell the truth before this committee. And I would like to tell you, Mr. Secretary, that the loyalty to my party stops when my loyalty to my country begins.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Pangilinan.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we'd like to just interject that, well, this representation is the President of the Liberal Party, and we categorically deny.
For, as I've said in the last hearing, when I applied for U.S. citizenship, naturalization as U.S. citizen before 1986, the hope for all of those in exile in the United States as Filipinos had been snuffed out by the assassination of Senator Benigno Aquino. We were active in the movement for Free Philippines at the time, and that was the lowest point in our life, as I said. When I applied, that application was never acted upon. In 1986, even before that application was acted upon, particularly in February 22 of 1986, people power came about. And on that basis, thereafter, 3 days after, I returned to the Philippines, and I looked at the conditions in the Philippines, and I said to myself, no, I will now return to the Philippines as I pledged. During that time when I entered the United States, I was only going to come back if President Marcos would no longer be in the Philippines, or if martial law would have been completely dismantled. When I came back, however, I was faced with this the grant of my United States citizen. So I took my oath. I got the certificate of naturalization, but at that time, I already made up my mind precisely to go home on the basis of changed conditions in the country. So that 3 months after I took that oath, I immediately returned and abandoned that residency. You might call it, and I admit, there is a misrepresentation there on my part for not divulging that, and this is precisely what the law is all about when it says preconceived intent and intention to abandon your residency. And I submitted myself to to American law on this point, but rather than be subject to denaturalization proceedings and try to contest that, I precisely voluntarily admitted that I was not qualified on the basis of that law. And that explains why I had that preconceived intent and that disqualification that retroacted up to the time that I applied and was granted for that citizenship void ab initio.
Mr. Chairman, you know,
Motion that the Commission confirm the ad interim appointment of J. Francis Galino Alcantara as Foreign Service Officer Class 2 in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Ms. Christine Margaret Mendiola Malang as Foreign Service Officer Class 2. She is presently posted at the Philippine Embassy in Tokyo, Japan. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion that the Commission confirm the ad interim appointment of Christine Margaret Mendiola Malang as Foreign Service Officer Class 2 in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
Ms. Ana Marie Cano Santos as Foreign Service Officer Class 2, posted at the Philippine Embassy in Bangkok, Thailand. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion that the Commission confirm the ad interim appointment of Ana Marie Cano Santos as Foreign Service Officer Class 2 in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
Finally, Mr. John Francis Solano Herrera as Foreign Service Officer Class 2, currently posted at the Philippine Embassy in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion that the Commission confirm the ad interim appointment of John Francis Solano Herrera as Foreign Service Officer Class 2 in the Department of Foreign Affairs. Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Lacson. Majority Leader?
Yes, next will be the report of your Committee on Foreign Affairs on the ad interim appointment of Mr. Perfecto Ribas Yasay as Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs. I move that we recognize again Senator Panfilo Lacson.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, Senator Lacson is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, this representation as Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs presided over 2 public hearings on February 22 and March 8, 2017 to deliberate on the ad interim appointment of Department of Foreign Affairs Secretary-designate Perfecto Rivas Yasay Jr., which was submitted to the committee's jurisdiction for its consideration. In the short course of time since the appointment of Secretary Yasay, various compelling issues have been leveled at him in magnified proportions, all considerably relevant and pertinent to the deliberation of his fitness and qualification as the Foreign Affairs Secretary. The following are matters at hand. Number 1, whether or not his U.S. citizenship granted in November 1986 was revoked through the affidavit he executed in 1993, where he elaborated circumstances that made him ineligible for and disqualified from having U.S. citizenship. Number 2, whether or not he has fully exercised his right of renunciation and thereafter formally reacquired his Filipino citizenship. Number 3, whether or not he was issued Filipino and U.S. passports at the same time. And number 4, whether or not he has used his American passport from 2007 to 2009, supposedly during the time when he was no longer a U.S. citizen. While this representation subscribes to the view that the Commission's public hearing is not the ultimate forum to determine Attorney Yasay's nationality and/or citizenship, it cannot be denied that the Commission on Appointments is also a proper forum to determine his qualifications and fitness as Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs. Let this be a reminder to everyone present in this hall that by definition, an oath is a solemn declaration accompanied by a swearing to God and a revered person or thing that one's statement is true or that one will be bound to a promise. The person making the oath implicitly invites punishment if the statement is untrue or the promise is broken. The legal effect of an oath is to subject the person to penalties for perjury if the testimony is false. At the outset, it bears stressing that the foremost requirement to qualify for an appointed position as part of the Executive Department is the possession of Philippine citizenship, as stated in Section 45 of Executive Order Number 292 as amended, otherwise known as the Administrative Code of 1987, to be appointed as member of the President's official family. Quote, secretaries shall be citizens of the Philippines and not less than 25 years of age, unquote. Although the Constitution has vested the President the power to appoint members of the Executive Department as a form of check and balance, it has also granted the Commission on Appointments the authority to approve or reject any appointee of the President belonging to the first level of appointment, founded on the qualification, fitness, and character of the appointee. Thus, in the exercise of the said right, the Commission has gone over the qualification and issues besetting the appointee. After careful deliberations of the foregoing circumstances, and upon a unanimous vote of 15 of its members present in a caucus held this morning, this representation as Chairman of the Committee on Foreign Affairs hereby moves to